Hello guys, today I am going to introduce you guys unknown facts and information about economics. First, sorry for not showing my face because I have a problem with my laptop, so I cannot use my camera. I'm sorry for that. So I'll start about my presentation. So I'll just explain the reason why I chose this topic. As some of my classmates know, I'm interested in economics really well and really a lot. And that's why I am planning to have a major of the Department of Economics. And that's why I read many books regarding economics. And I think that I know some of economic information and knowledge better than some of you guys. So at first, I have thought of choosing a topic that is related to theories of economics or economic systems or those things that we should know in depth. However, if I chose those topic, it will be boring to you guys. So I chose this really basic knowledge, basic information about economics. And this will be very helpful to you guys because it's just a basic knowledge, basic thing. So those are the contents. And first fact is that, did you guys know that there is no single economic system that can explain the Singapore's economy? This was surprising for me since if we think of Singapore, it is one of the most developed country among the Asia countries. And of course, majority of the countries in the world are based on capitalism. So I also thought that Singapore's economy system is based on capitalism. However, it's not. And this is what some people call the Singapore problem. If you read the standard account of Singapore's economic success in places like, The Economist or the Wall Street Journal, you will only hear about Singapore's free trade and welcoming attitude towards the foreign investment, which is kind of characteristic of capitalism. So it's unlike the countries mostly based on socialism, such as North Korea. You guys know North Korea don't trade with others a lot. However, almost all the land in Singapore is owned by the government, while 85% of housing is supplied by the government's housing corporation. Moreover, 22% of GDP, which is kind of big amount of money, is produced by state-owned enterprises. 한국말로 하면 국유 바탕의 사업 이렇게 말을 할 수 있더라고요. 네, it's including Singapore Airlines, as you guys know. So when the world average in that respect is only about 9%. So to put it bluntly, there isn't one single economic theory that can explain the Singapore success. So its economy combines extreme features of capitalism and socialism. So as I said, that Singapore's economic system is a mixture of capitalism and socialism. Do you guys know what is socialism and capitalism? I guess most of us know simple concept of both, but I'll just make a reconceptualization. So socialism is an economic and political system under which the means of production are publicly owned, which means that government is the owner of all the things, such as the land or other house or those things. And the production and consumer prices are controlled by the government to best meet the needs of the people. So they are the one who handle and who control the prices. However, in the opposite way, capitalism is an economic system under which the means of production are privately owned, which means that individual can be the owner of their land or their money. Production and consumer prices are based on free market system of supply and demand. 수요와 공급이라고 할 수 있습니다. So that's the differences between the capitalism and socialism. I will not read it, but if you guys are interested in, you can take a photo of this and read it again. Yeah, I think I gave plenty of time, so I will skip. So the second fact of the economics is that Britain and the US invented protectionism, not a free trade. So to look at the history, Britain, which is 영국, had the most protected economy in the capitalist world in the late 18th and the early 19th century. Much of this protection was provided in order to promote British manufacturers against superior foreign competitors in Europe at that time. And moreover, the US, which is America, went even further. Taking inspiration from British protectionist policy, the Alexander Hamilton who is the first Treasury Secretary of the US, developed a theory called the infant industry argument, and the view that the government of an economically backward nation should protect and nurture its young industry until they grow up and can compete with other companies in the world market. So Hamilton died in 1804 in a pistol duel, but the US adopted the concept of the protectionism in the 1820s, and still they remain the most protected economy in the world. By the way, I mentioned that Britain and US invented protectionism, not a free trade. Then what is free trade? To say briefly, free trade can be, trading, but there is no exact or not really a lot of intervention of the government. So I will explain the free trade agreement. Free trade agreement, or we can say treaty, is a multinational agreement according to the international law to form a free trade area between the cooperating states. And this can be shortened as FTAs. It is a form of trade pact determining the tariffs and duties that countries impose on imports and exports with the goal of reducing or eliminating the trade barriers between the countries and the countries. Therefore, it can encourage the international trade. So it's kind of TMI, but in Korea, there are several countries that made an agreement on free trade, such as mostly Chile, Singapore, EFTA, USA, Peru, EU, India, Turkey, Canada, Australia, China, New Zealand, Vietnam, Colombia. Those are the countries that already made an agreement with Korea. That's actually just a TMI. Yeah, you don't need to really know that. So I'll go to the last fact. The last fact of the economics is that the economics was originally called political economy. If we think of political economy and if you guys may think that what is the difference between economics and political economy? That's just a different word. But if we think of political economy, it's just a political term. But the dominant neoclassical school of economics at that time succeeded in changing the name of the discipline from the traditional political economy to economics at the turn of 20th century. The reason why they changed the name is that neoclassical school wanted economics to be a pure science, because if you think of economics like ICS, that's put in usually in the term of the science or the study. So that can show the importance of economy. So now you guys may know that, you guys may curious of the word neoclassical school of economics. What is neoclassical school of economics? It's hard to pronounce it even. Neoclassical school of economics. There are three schools of thought asserted a different opinion on how the economy works. The first school of thought is classical school. The classical school, which is regarded as the first school of economic thought, is associated with the 18th century Scottish economist Adam Smith. You know Adam Smith, right? Because we learned this, our 11th grade learned this in last year and this year also. So Adam Smith and other British economists. So Adam Smith believed this, and he was part of this classical school. The main idea of classical school was that the markets work best when they are left alone and that there is nothing but the smallest role for government, which means the government's intervention should be least. The approach is firmly one of the laissez-faire and a strong belief in the efficiency of free market to generate economic development. Markets should be left to work because the price mechanism acts as a powerful, invisible hand to allocate resources to where they are best employed. So they wanted less or even no intervention of government towards the economic cycles. And invisible hand is, yeah, you guys may know this because it's really literally invincible hand that makes to work the economy. We're going to, most of you guys will learn this in 10th grade and also in 11th grade. So you guys should be aware of this word. So the second one is neoclassical, which I mentioned before. The neoclassical school of economic thought is a wide-ranging school of ideas from which modern economic theory evolved. So it's kind of the new idea, new theory. The method is clearly scientific with assumption and hypothesis and attempts to derive general rules or principles about the behavior of firms and consumers. So they focus on the firms and consumers. And lastly, there is a new classical. New classical macroeconomics dates from 1970s and is an attempt to explain the macroeconomic problems and issues using a microeconomic concepts like rational behavior and rational expectations, like those things. So new classical economics is associated with the work of Chicago economics, who is Robert Lucas. Those are the economics that's really well known, so it will be better to know only the name, even though you don't need to really know those, like what they did or what's their accomplishment, those things, useless. Just know the name Robert Lucas and Adam Smith and those other economists. Thank you for listening to my TED TED presentation. Thank you.